This is the story's high point. By the way, we're halfway through the story. He has a wife, he has a kid, friends, politician. He's a politician now, and he's got power. Well, he's a successful politician, but he's running for politics. He's in politics.
I think he wants to be governor.
His dream. Yeah, he's going for governor of Florida. I think that's where the Xanadu is built. So I think it's Florida. I don't think it's New York. I feel like it might be New York. No. Yeah. And this is something that is a kind of interesting point, because we've discussed this more than once about a story's high point and a story's low point in the middle of the storyline.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. I love this because this is just like the movie we did before called Basic. In that one, instead of a midpoint high point, yes, there we go. This is the high point. In that one, in Basic, it was a low point.
Right.
When they to each other and they're talking about how difficult Leigh West's life, the whole Leigh West situation was. That was a low point, and then when the moment hits that low point, something new hits. In Basic the other day, they were talking about how difficult it was to be whatever, and then they're like, "Oh my God, wait! Dunbar said it was a gunshot, not a bomb." Then the story kicks off immediately.
Right.
What this one does is instead of a gunshot, what it does is it's Kane's wife suddenly mentioning an address, and you see Kane's eyes go, eh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he knows the address.
Yes. He knows the address.
I got a letter. Okay, before we get there, I just want to say he declares publicly that he's going to take out his rival, who's also for governor.
He goes the full locker up angle, dog. He goes full, I'm going to get this man incarcerated.
Right.
100%.
Right.
Like he declares it as a fact.
Yes. So basically, going back to his point about putting the people first, he believes that it is his moral obligation to get rid of this man so that he can be in power and serve the people.
Yes, because he's a reformist and he wants change in politics. And yeah, they even mentioned it before, where it's like this set reformist back 20 years. So yeah, you got to get that later on and now and before. So this is a big deal. And he says he's gonna go with her. We get the reveal of the other woman. And what's his name again? Geddes, right? The politician, Geddes.
Yeah, Geddes or something along those lines.
Yeah. And Geddes shows the truth about the affair. And now this is the moment of truth.
Right.
Things might be settled here.
Right.
Now it's all about Kane and his ego and his need to rebel.
Right.
And by the way, this is what people mean by a character flaw. This is for the writers out there. A character flaw should be something a character can't help, even when it doesn't make sense, even when it beats logic.
But the character can what?
It's something a character can't beat, even when it's illogical. Okay. I call this the monkey trap. You know how you catch a monkey? You put a banana inside a jar, and when the monkey grabs the banana, his fist gets stuck in the jar. So you can't get the banana unless he lets go. And because he can't let go, he's stuck with the jar in his hand.
Oh, it becomes a bit of a dilemma for the monkey.
Exactly. Because but the monkey's flaw is that it's too greedy and it can't think too far ahead, right?
Right.
To think, let go of if I'm able to find a different way. It's got the banana in its hand, so they can go for it. And that's how. Yeah, so that's the same principle, right? So all he has to do is let go, that's all. But he won't, so he's trapped. In Basic, we went over Hardy and Osborn's traits. They did not have flaws. They had traits, which is different. They had characteristics that made them unique. You know what I mean? But there was nothing about their characters that punished them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they did not have character flaws. They had character traits. Those are two different things.
Right.
So yeah, I did not talk about Tony Stark. Yeah, Tony Stark in Civil War is presented with Bucky having killed his parents. It's logical for Tony to understand that he was not in control. Tony doesn't care. Oh, nice.
Yeah, for me, this is one of the best moments in this entire.
Huge.
First of all, Orson Welles
Yeah.
plays beautifully as a mature man who is caught between a rock and a hard place because he's just about to win this election. He knows he's got it in the bag. There's no way he's gonna lose, right? But the fact that his wife is now, and I mean for a moment I was like, woman, are you so slow to actually realize that this man is cheating on you? Like, does it take that long for you to figure it out? But I feel like she did figure it out. She was just waiting for his confession, right?
Yes.
The impression that I was getting, but also the fact that the governor had to go so low, to get Kane to basically back out of the voting. Well, that was what he was expecting.
Yes, but
everybody's basically looking at him, wondering what he's gonna do. First of all, his rival, his political rival, is like, dude, you have two choices. The first choice is you back out of the thing, right? Then you travel, you go somewhere, and that's it. Or you become stubborn and try to do your own thing, and we'll see how far you can go. The wife has already made the decision for him. It's like, I mean, you have no other choice. You have to back out. And then the mistress is on some, I promise you, this man said that I was going to be homeless. I had no choice. I'm sorry that I blabbed. I wasn't supposed to blab, but I blabbed because he threatened me, So he's going through 3 people who are pushing him in a corner to make decisions. One wants forgiveness. One says you don't have a choice. The one says, dude, you lost. At the same time. Brilliant. Yeah, that's all I needed to say. I just needed to share that. I found that to be extremely captivating at that point. It was amazing storytelling.
Yeah, it was definitely. But also don't forget the guy basically says, you printed an article with me in prison stripes for my kids to see. So he was like, I'm just giving back to what you gave me, man. So yeah, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, onto my example about the thing. I was gonna talk about never mind actually.
No, please say it, bro. Please say it, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, Tony Stark doesn't care, but it's not set up outside the series, not really. Another example another example involving Tony Stark would be Tony Stark doesn't like having paperwork given to him. He dismisses it, and it is punished in Iron Man 3 when he dismisses his enemy and someone didn't help him.
Aldrich Killian.
Yes. So I would describe that more of a quirk than a full-on character flaw. A best example of a character flaw would be Iron Man believing he has all the answers to it all and acting unilaterally, and then creates Ultron.
Now, wait a minute. What did you mean by? What did you want to say about Civil War when he discovers that Bucky killed his parents? Like,
basically, he doesn't care. Like his indifference, because basically in the movie they set up that Tony loves his parents, and then when Bucky turns out that Bucky killed his parents, but it was under mind control. When Tony finds that out, he doesn't actually care. He still wants to get revenge.
Right.
That is wrong, but I wouldn't call it a full-on character flaw. You know what I mean? That's not an issue that kind of flows within his personality. That's just rage.
You know what I mean? And understandable rage.
And then you get the issue with him not liking paperwork. You see it in the first movie, you see it in the third movie, and then you see it being punished in Iron Man 3.
You see it usually delegates this paperwork stuff to Pepper, right?
Exactly. So then basically the idea is I don't think that's a character flaw. That's more of a character gimmick, like a cool, quirky thing that a character does that in the end gets punished by the third movie.
Right.
And the proper example of a proper character flaw would be Tony Stark, who is such a three-dimensional character. He's got all of these things going for him. Is him wanting to do everything himself. That's a character flaw. They call it the paragon flaw. Superman has a similar flaw. Superman likes to do things himself, and because he likes to act first, it ends up causing trouble. Like, for example, him versus Shazam in the Justice League TV show. When he just decides, Shazam, I don't trust Shazam, Lex Luthor's up to something. Shazam's like, yo, dude, stop it, Lex Luthor's not up to something. And then Superman just starts beating the crap out of Shazam. That's an example of like a character flaw.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's on help.
And his flaw is basically, I like what you're saying because through his flaw, you understand why he would need to be part of the Justice League and not just be a solo hero, even though he's aware that there's a league out there, because he needs other people to actually
keep him in check. Yes.
Yeah, keep him in check. Yeah.
This is what Iron Man says in Civil War. We need to be kept in check after the whole Ultron situation, which was a result of his own character flaw.
Right.
And the same thing happens here. Kane can't let it go. In fact, he even says, no one's going to tell me what to do.
Yes.
You know, like,
yeah.
Insane. No, dude. There's a solution here. Yes, you lost this election. You'll win the next one, maybe. You never know.
That's what his wife is saying.
It'll be okay.
Because his wife is like it's not rocket science, dude.
Yeah.
Right now, you need to think about me and your son. Like,
exactly.
Move on. Let's. But Kane is like, nope.
Yeah, nope.
I'm not gonna allow him. I'm not gonna allow this man to get what he wants.
Exactly. He's like, I can fight this. I can win. And then, he gets his medicine.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think that's something that actually, again, the character flaw discussion is a lot of times a lot of movies make a lot of mistakes in that they'll reward you for your character flaws. Like, what's a good example? I'm trying to think of there's a lot of movies where you'll be like, okay, what you just did there is a bad guy thing. But oh, look, the story turned out okay, even though what you just did was a bad guy thing. Where it's like, nah, dude, that should have led to punishment. And what I love about the story is that it led to punishment because he loses the election almost immediately.
Yes.
He loses over 1 million votes. It's insane.
Yeah.
Yep, and you kind of, cool. Yeah, this is one hour and 10 minutes in. Yeah, the story's out. Even the papers, even his own papers to show his defeat. Leland, who's painted as the adoring friend, the true follower, becomes a stick in the mud. They mentioned it once before. And then he goes from a true follower to a stick in the mud to the person who challenges this man the most. And then he becomes his harshest critic. Leland, or Jedediah, as you like to say, becomes this thing, and he becomes drunk, and he goes after him, and he does an interesting thing where the way he goes after him is fantastic. He talks about how you think you're the voice of the people, you think the rights that you're giving are a gift, you think giving. Well, it turns out, and I feel like it's talking about unions or something. It turns out that people have figured out a way of uniting on their own. And they get what they want as a right, not as a gift that you give them.
Yeah, because that's why I started getting the impression that Kane is a narcissist in a way. Because but we only see this narcissism through Jedediah's eyes. I think had Jedediah not said certain things that he was saying to the journalist or how he was addressing Kane here, I wouldn't have picked it up. But it's like the more he speaks, it's like, do you think that the people will not be able to behave a certain way or think certain things just because you are not around?
Yeah, definitely. Though I think narcissist is a strong word because in these days, mental health wasn't a thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Christian narcissist didn't exist.
Right.
But I'm glad that's its own discussion, actually. Mental health and storytelling. But I agree. No, he's absolutely a narcissist. No, definitely a narcissist. But the question is Tony Stark a narcissist? Well, yes. He's a functioning narcissist, I guess you could say.
I guess there's layers to narcissism, I guess, because at the same time, the more we talk about it, the more I'm like, easy though. But I guess you could say he's a control freak, maybe.
I don't know. I think there's narcissism there, but it's absolutely a person determined to control his whole situation, but not to the point where he's so complicated, right? Because I know there's extreme versions of control freaks. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
But because control freak is such a wide expression, because it includes Munchausen. I don't know if you've ever heard of Munchausen by proxy. You get Munchausen by proxy. Munchausen is where you pretend to be sick or you make yourself sick. Then Munchausen by proxy is where you poison your kid, basically.
Wait,
and then you
that hypochondria?
No, that's when you're scared of germs.
Oh, okay.
Munchausen by proxy, like the movie Sixth Sense, where the mother keeps putting bleach in the kid's porridge. That's Munchausen by proxy. And then Munchausen is where you eat that shit yourself. It's a real thing. There's kind of like a level of control there where you want to be in control of the situation. You just want to be appreciated. And that's what Kane, see, that's the thing. Yes, he's a narcissist, but he just wants to be loved, I think. And I keep going back to that room of suits clapping for him as he opens a thing that he can't play with.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what he grew up with from the age of, 6?
Right.
So interesting. This is all so interesting, right? There's so many things.
Man, it's really hard to pinpoint loopholes in this story.
Oh, definitely. But I love it so much. I think this is a situation where everyone's right. Whatever you think he has, you're right. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I love that. Cool. There's a cool line that Leland comes back with later on that I want to bring back at some point. But yes, I think Leland calling him out for his narcissism is absolutely 100% correct. It's dog. The way he says it, dude, the movie Chirac? This is what Chirac should have been. The one Spike Lee movie, the one where the movie is basically a rap musical about the hood starring Wesley Snipes. It's the worst thing that's ever existed. So don't watch it.
Okay.
But
I just want to say that, one thing I realized about Kane, when it comes to criticism, when it comes to people who tell him about their interpretation of who he is, there's no point in any of these scenes where he actually denies it.
True. And Leland is the person who comes at him the hardest, and he accepts it. Yeah. In fact, Kane wants him to stay. Remember, because he's like, I want to go to Chicago. I want to transfer to Chicago. Yeah. But Kane wants him to stay.
Yeah. But don't go to Chicago. No, don't stay. Yeah.
Yeah. That just goes to show. But then he does leave because I think he ends up with some really harsh words, and then he goes. And then next thing you know, 1 hour and 15 minutes in, Kane's getting remarried. It's all about it's all about making his girl get the come up. I think we've all had this kind of girl in our life. I don't say it's a guy dating down per se, but you feel like
he was definitely dating down, bro. Let's be honest. Let's call a spade a spade.
Yes.
There's a big difference between his first wife and his mistress. There's a big difference. And I feel like she was his downfall. I feel like she was.
I feel like anyone who was there would have been. They put it like this: once his downfall happened, she became his project, and then what I mean. That was his downfall. Not necessarily her per se, but his obsession with her. Like, you know what I mean? Because again, I think there's this discussion you can have about. I don't want to go into the manosphere right now, but about dating down when it comes to a girl who's got maybe like a talent or something like that, and you're dating down and you feel like you could it's not I can fix her per se, but it's like I can help her kind of thing. So
because she did say, was she like waiting tables or something?
No, she was like a stenographer. So it was some weird job. It wasn't waiting tables, but it was like working at a church, some shit like that.
Yeah, and she was not even happy about that. And he was like, "What did you want to do?" And she said, "I'd like to be a singer." So it's like he wanted her dream to come true so badly that he wanted to push her to get her dream to become a reality, even though she was not as keen as he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
sometimes I don't know if it's happened to you, but I've had a girl who became a project. You know what I mean? Like I helped her with her thing and stuff like that.
I genuinely think that,
but yeah,
if you've dated at least 5 people in your life, male or female, you definitely have a project. Whether you were aware of it or not, there was definitely a project somewhere.
Yeah, you want a partner. So yeah, you just want to, but yeah, anyway, that's the whole point. And to me, this felt ultra relatable. Obviously, it goes extreme later on, but
Right.
this weirdly relatable.
Right.
Yeah, she wanted to sing, so yeah, she's going to the opera. They don't want to take her. That's fine. He'll build his own opera, which he has. But it's just
this goes back to control, though. This just basically proves Jedediah's point, because he is enforcing, his ideas and what he wants to happen on people. Because this wife kept on saying she doesn't want this.
Yeah.
But kept insisting and insisting and insisting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the problem is she's not there. She's just not good enough. You know what I mean?
Right.
But Kane owns Opera House and the newspaper's reviewing it. So it's all yes men except for his old buddy Leland, who's back for some reason.
Right.
Leland, who was a drunk, who's now who we saw drunk, now appears to be a full-time alcoholic, and he's passed out through his negative review.
Right. Did he pass out by the telegram, I think?
Yeah, on top of the typewriter. Just
on top of the typewriter, sorry, yes.
So yeah, they pull it out, and he finished the article.
Right.
And then when Leland wakes up, he's fired within 2 sentences of them talking. It was wild, actually. Because it's beautiful. I even posted on my status about the whole him walking up slowly.
I saw it, yeah. And also, something that we're skipping is that, what's that guy's name again? Who?
Cameraman. The DOP.
No, not the DOP, man. The third friend.
Oh, Bernstein.
Bernstein was in the room with Jedediah.
Yes.
Basically, he mentions that he talks to Jedediah and says, Kane is basically finishing your article and is writing it as you. So he's not changing what you were initially writing.
Yes.
He's continuing exactly what you were writing, even though it was bad things about him.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, then it drops a nice line where it's like, yeah, I guess you showed him. You know what I mean? Like he's like, drops that little line at the end. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
It shows that Bernstein is not just a yes man. Like he's got thoughts of his own. He's just a part. He just follows the vision too deeply to really get out.
Right.
But, so that was nice. And then he walks up and then gets fired. Yeah, just like that. And I think that's kind of not really the end, but yeah, no, it kind of is the end of Lent, because you kind of get a thing where he says the last time he spoke to him, Kane tried to talk to him, but he rejected it, and that was the last time they ever spoke. And that's out of the end. That's kind of sort of the end of Jedediah. You kind of see a non-verbal part of him later on, but I think Jedediah is he's a charming, charismatic man who, I think that's why they kind of hit it off, because they're both charismatic, charming guys.
Yeah.
But I think Leland is the failed idealist. Like he is, I think that's what he is, the failed idealist. Comes an alcoholic, he starts looking at the small things in life. When before he was like, I am with you. I want to be a part of this mission for the people.
Yeah, the more we talk about it, I feel like he is the Eduardo of the social network. Well, apart from Eduardo was not an alcoholic, but
you're right.
His loyalty to his friend dwindles over time.
Yeah,
that's basically.
And his friend just blows past him, and he gets. Well, luckily, unfortunately, Eduardo is based on a true story, so they couldn't dramatize it. But I feel like I got social network vibes in this movie, by the way. I absolutely got social network vibes.
It's only hitting me now that we're talking about it. I didn't get those at all initially when I was watching it.
It's got the same principle where you get everything you want, but nothing you need. Zuckerberg is unhappy at the end as well. Kane is unhappy at the end as well.
Right.
they both have this best friend that look up to them. We see more of Jedediah, fortunately. And we kind of see how the disillusion hurt Jedediah. He went from an idealist to a person who just like, just give me another cigarette, man. These doctors, I know they're trying to keep me alive, but I want another cigarette.
Yeah. For me, he's the second most important character in the story.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yes. That's what happens there. And it kind of ends with this kind of cool character, charismatic, just kind of living for the moment now because he's given up those things.
Right.
Heartbreaking in a way. But it's like, this is a consequence. But again, like you said, he's rich. He's still rich. He's not a poor man.
No, it's not a poor man at all.
Even though he does gives back the $25,000 later on. But yeah. Anyway,
which shows that look, you cannot buy me. I'm not one of the people that you can easily just buy to get your way. But I'm your friend, and that's when he posts, those declarations to him.
Yeah, send it back.
Yeah.
Which is the own thing, which we'll get to. 125 minutes in, we're now back to real time, and we're back to Susie.
Right.
Finally calmed down enough to talk, and well, not really, but yeah, it's about Susie's sense of control. This is what the section's about, really. We kind of see how he took away her control. We get this amazing show of power in a flashback, only for it to turn out that the flashback was tied to an even further flashback, or rather earlier flashback, where we see them singing on the piano table. And my God, oh my God, this is one of my favorite scenes right here. Where she's singing and this guy is like, nah, dog, you're fucking up, man. This is not right. You got to do it like this. And I can't even tell. I'm not an opera singer, so I don't even know what's so bad about it. He's like, no, it's going to be like, no, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's just, you can tell she's like freaking out. And then he's like, you know what? I give up, man. I've tried. This is impossible. You can't sing. And Orson Welles says, no one paid you for your fucking opinion, boy. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you understand. If she goes out there, we'll all become the laughing stock of the opera world. Right. And he's like, no. I tell people what to laugh and what not to laugh at. You know what I mean? And then he's like so scared that he actually sits down and starts making her sing again. And you can kind of see she's upset about the whole situation. And he's just watching. And he's like, yeah, I knew you'd see it my way. When he said that, I was like, fuck, I would fight you.
But look, at the end of the day, it's about the fact that he's paying him.
Yeah.
That's the only reason that that man continued to train this woman, even though he was so frustrated by her. First of all, the wife doesn't want to sing. Second of all, this man doesn't want to be there.
Yeah. And he has no faith in her. Yeah.
He has no what?
Faith in her as a singer. So
no, he doesn't. He doesn't. Under normal circumstances, he wouldn't have been there for that long.
Yeah, and also he's not. If he has no faith in you as a teacher, then this is a bad deal already. Like, you should go.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But Kane is like, sit down, you keep singing. Dog. Yeah, they're trapped. It's a prison. Yeah. And then we get to that grand event where she was being yelled at to like improve. It was being berated. And we see the stage open, but it's on the other side. Which is just, DOP is a genius. Anyway, we see Kane's pride as she sings. And we see Leland's indifference. We see Kane's new staff cringing. Even Kane's boy, Bernstein is passing out. People start talking badly. Kane is still blown away by the performance that no one else.
He's the only one that's captivated by this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess you could say that he's delusional at this point.
Yeah, he is. He's absolutely insane. He's just out there with the famous clapping scene.
Right.
Kane is blown away, but no one else is. After all, And then after all of that, we get a new kind of Susie. All that cuteness is gone. Now she sounds like she's from New York, just that Brooklyn voice, dog.
Mm, mm, mm.
Then we get the scene we talked about before, with the 25K and the Declaration of Principles. He calls it an antique and he rips it up. And to me, this was I don't know if you've seen Breaking Bad.
Yeah, well, I didn't finish it, but yes, I have seen it.
Right, there's a scene where like everyone knows where he's under the thing, he's looking for the money, and he can't find it because it turns out that what's her face has spent it, or rather put it away, has invested the money. So he's under the floor and he's like, and he's like screaming and he's crying, and then he starts laughing. And everyone agrees that that moment is the end of Walter White, and now he's just Heisenberg. You know what I mean?
I see.
From then onwards, it's just Heisenberg.
Right.
And I feel like that was the end of Kane, and now it's just Heisenberg Kane. It's cold Kane now.
Heisenberg Kane, yeah.
Yeah. So now pissed, he forces Susie to be now that he's pissed off about the whole declaration thing and the end of his last friend, he forces Susie to be a star, a diva singing across the planet as the Inquirer, the newspaper, lies. The world tour montage ends with them breaking into a room as she's overdosed and tried to kill herself.
Right.
He even controls that narrative of her attempted suicide. She tried to kill herself to leave a message. And then finally he lets go of the dream. Only after she tries to kill herself. The Xanadu is now built, and now they're in a mega castle. And it looks ridiculous how big it is. You see the fireplace.
It is huge.
Dude, it is ridiculous.
It is huge.
Man. Yeah, they're in a mega castle. The montage brilliantly shows passing time as you see jigsaw puzzle after jigsaw puzzle after jigsaw puzzle. And now they are so far apart, they literally can't hear each other. So it's the table scene all over again.
Yes, yes. Which I guess you could say says a lot about him being a husband.
Yeah.
Because clearly the woman he's with,
it doesn't matter. She makes clear and logical complaints that it's just going to be him with a bunch of yes men who don't want to go to this beach thing. Everyone's fine in the house. What you're saying makes no sense. And he's just like, no, we're going on a picnic. And it's like, oh, okay. They say, it cuts to cars driving. That's just what. He didn't hear a word she said.
Right.